Hey folks, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and in this case preparing for a potential blackout. It's something that's worrying a lot of people. I get messages all day long regarding this from different parts of the world. Actually, there's a lot of people concerned, and different countries are having different approaches. Some are more dedicated to have a prepared population, and they've made certain warnings. I think it was the Austrian government that said that it was a considerable chance of some kind of either terrorist attack to the grid or some potential problem by which you would have a large part of the population without power for a somewhat extended period of time. We know about the problems with supply, prices going through a roof in terms of energy. All of this combines in somewhat of a perfect storm and doesn't make things any better that many politicians around the world have decided to check that political box of being green, eco-friendly, and cutting on a lot of the polluting sources of power, coal, gasoline, and using some of the more traditional ways of generating power, cutting on those supposedly so as to replace it with the famous green energy. Now this is very risky because it's like candy for a politician. You're basically looking good by saying you're not going to be doing anything. When you say I'm going to be cutting down production of coal, I'm going to be closing down refineries or closing down a nuclear power plant, when you say all of that, you don't have to do anything, you just look good. When you say you're going to be cutting the budget on a power plant, you're basically saving the money and getting all the political credit. Now the problem with this, and it happens in different countries, is that first of all, they didn't end up replacing that with something that worked to the same level, or even if they did, it was not nearly as efficient as they thought it would be. So they put the solar panels, the wind generators, and it turns out, yeah, we spend a bunch of money on something that doesn't work well at all, and we're short on power because of this. All of this combines to a situation in which we are now. What's going to be happening? I really don't know. I have no clue what's going to be going down, but there is a potential risk of some of this getting, if I had to make a bet, I wouldn't go for a complete breakdown of rule of law and society around the world, the end of the world that we know it. As you know, I'm really not a fan of that kind of approach. I will say though that there's a certain possibility, there's a serious potential risk of things getting complicated in the not so distant future. Let's just put it that way. The possibility of attack on the grid seems to be a concern that some of the experts seem to have, and the problems with the grid in completely because of the prices of power going up and not keeping up with demand, and some of these blackouts being imposed so as to get by. So the way this goes is, and this is very typical of South America, okay, you're going to be losing power from 1 p.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. or whatever. Best case scenario, you get a warning. Worst case scenario, it just happens and you're just caught with your pants down. That's basically how you live in the third world year round. But anyway, guys, 3 things to keep in mind. This is pretty simple. This is not all that complicated, and I bet that a lot of you have thought about this before, but I'm going to be giving it a different approach, especially for people that are new to this, and also for people that are a little bit more into it but need to upgrade a thing or two here. So which 3 things is it that you want to tick in your box for potential blackouts? Going to be flashlights, going to be batteries and chargers, and some form of power generator, solar panels. All right, so let's start with the most simple thing, which is flashlights and such. My advice here in this regard is to have a somewhat of a standardized approach. I like having AA, AAA, and 18650s. 18650s are the bigger batteries, the ones that you have in some of the more powerful flashlights, like this lumen top. Right, it says there, focus, okay, 18650. 18650 are the more powerful ones, and it's nice to have this in case you need it. I mean, it's so common now that I just had to incorporate to the standard of AA and AAA. I used to use a lot more of the 123 CR batteries, the 123A ones, the tactical little batteries for the flashlights. This has been mostly replacing it for me, and especially with the AA's, that you have some of the lithium ion batteries in that same form factor, the 14500s. Those are also very nice, and at the same time you can still use AA. So those would be the things to consider. If you're going to be buying a AA flashlight, make sure it also works for the higher voltage that you have in the lithium-ion rechargeable ones or the primer ones. Not all flashlights are able to take lithium-ion. If you just throw one in a standard AA battery flashlight, there's a chance you're going to be burning it. So make sure it's actually rated for that before you even give it a go. Here you have a good little suggestion, the Petzl flashlight. Petzl is a fantastic brand. No, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I've just bought a lot of their products over the years, and maybe not a lot, but a few of them, and I know it's a heck of a quality product. They just make a fantastic flashlight. They are not new to the game. Petzl makes some of the more interesting climbing gear for people that are into that, but they make fantastic flashlights as well. And the headlamp is a great advantage. So many times suggested it. The advantage here is that instead of having one of your hands, busy with a flashlight, you're just now directing it with your head movement and keeping both hands free, which is exactly what you want when you have to get stuff done, repairs, and so on. So this would be one of those pieces of advice. In terms of batteries, try getting rechargeable lithium-ion ones. The Eneloop ones are good. If you have an IKEA store, IKEA is, yes, they don't just sell furniture. They actually sell IKEA sells some nice rechargeable batteries made in Japan. I assume they're the same as the Eneloop ones, just branded different, but they have some fantastic batteries. I don't have some right now here, but they're very good. I mean, buy a bunch of those. You're going to be saving up on batteries quite a bit, and they last a long time as well. They have more power in them too. These ones are a little bit older, these energizers. I was just trying these out. This charger is from IKEA, and the charger works very well with the last thing that I just want to bring up, which is some kind of alternative way of generating power or having power stored. And this can be a little bit more complex, a bit more expensive. I'll leave links for everything, all of this below there in the description, but you want to have at least something so as to generate some amount of power. The basic thing you can do is just get something like this, solar power bank, which has a solar panel and a big battery bank. This is mostly a battery bank, right? So you charge this with your wall charger, or you can use the solar panel. The solar panel, it is quite small, and it's going to be taking a long time to charge this big battery. Probably all day long. I would maybe give it like half of it maybe, but at least it's something. At least you will be able to run your phones and some of your smaller gadgets, charge a few batteries. Most of all, the phone. Guys, if you don't have a way of checking your phone is an essential tool. This will allow you to not use your phone all day long, but keep it working to some extent and at least know what's going on, get some news, go online, check things up, send messages, communicate with people, all of that good stuff with this simple device. It also has like the wireless charging port here, which is nice, and yeah, it's supposed to be a battery bank and some kind of flashlight gimmick thing, which it's nice to have it, but not gonna be using this really all that much. Mostly the battery bank and the solar panel. Again, the solar panel is not ideal, but better than nothing. But this is something that you can easily combine with a proper solar panel. This is a 28-watt panel. I've shown it in previous videos. It works very well. With a little bit of sunshine, you're going to be charging your phone as if connected to the wall. It is very efficient for that sort of thing. And you can charge this battery bank with this charger. So, with this solar panel. So, if you got this first and then you have the budget so as to upgrade a little bit, you can combine this with this and have a little bit of a power plant, little situation going on there. It's not going to be powering anything huge, but it's a lot better than not having anything at all. Especially, again, I insist on having at least a way of charging your phones, maybe your tablet, something so as to charge your small devices. That it's often more important than having your fridge running. When you adjust things properly, you can get by without that. You cannot get by without knowing what's going on in the world when it really matters. Finally, the battery electric generator, solar generator, I've seen it under different names. It's basically a big battery with a good inverter. This is the EcoFlow River model. No, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I actually should contact them because I'm liking the product and it works nicely. It is So you have the amount of power that you have there, right? It lets you, it is very well put together. And this thing, there's a couple brands. It is EcoFlow, and there's another one in Amazon that's the top one rated. I leave the link for that one because this one is not available in Amazon for whatever reason. And so I leave the links for some of the for that there as well. This thing allows you to use some of the more power needy tools that you have. You could even hook up a drill to this thing and it will work. There's videos of people using it on certain small fridges. So it's maybe not the thing I would be using it the most for. For me, it's something so as to have some kind of power if I need it. And again, charging the devices, maybe running a TV so as to keep kids entertained if I have to. I could use it on the fridge as well. But you know, if it's a long-term thing where this is going to be lasting for a very long time, I think it's better to just adjust your food so as to not need refrigeration and get around that entirely. You could even power your washing machine with this, and that's going to be making the wife a lot happier than if it wasn't the case. This is though not a generator per se. You're not, you know, a proper generator would use gasoline. Now the thing with that is you need the gasoline, and it may not be as available as you would hope. It is a lot more noisy, and the noise signal, it's not just bothering you, it's just letting people know that you have a generator as well. And people have been murdered over their generators after disasters. Happened in Puerto Rico, happened in a bunch of different places. It's actually quite common that people become desperate and someone wants to steal your generator and shoots you over it. This, while not a generator, combined with that solar panel that I have over there, that's an 80-watt panel. It's not as good as maybe an 120, 160 panel, but it's very decent. I'm charging that thing half day long, maybe even better if I have proper conditions. You can charge this in a few hours with that panel, and you can use it during the day. I mean, this setup is beautiful because instead of having a jerry can full of gasoline, I have the panel. It dries up. I don't have to buy more gasoline. I just hook it up to the panel, charge the device, and use it as if I'm using a generator. So it's not as consistent in terms of if you have a working generator, as long as you keep on putting fuel in it, it will keep on producing power. This means you have to pace yourself a little bit more and, you know, charge this, or you can use it while being charged, which is also pretty neat. So if there's good conditions, you can have this connected to something that you need while at the same time you keep the panel connected, and it's going to be making it last quite a bit more. Very interesting device. I'm still not doing a actual review because I want to try it a little bit more, but again, I'll leave the links for this one or the other alternative that's kind of similar to it. It's something also that hasn't got any moving parts. You don't have an engine. You don't have something that could easily break, like in an actual generator. Nothing is moving here. So this is all very resistant and very reliable technology. It's just solar panel, battery, inverter. There's really not a lot that could break as easily. Well, I mean, there's stuff that could break, but not as easily as it could go wrong in an actual engine with a fuel generator. Okay, guys, it's gonna be all for now. If you're interested in all of this stuff, again, remember the Modern Survival Manual, Surviving the Economic Collapse, and Street Survival Skills, where I do share a few tips learned over the years regarding getting by with little electricity, ice bottles, improvising lanterns, and some other little tricks picked over the years of dealing with power outages all the time. That's kind of like you live in South America, not the kind of way people get by in most of the developed world, but you learn a few things. Guys, it's gonna be all for now. See you on our next video. Take care.